Hi, I'm Eric at Frog Valley Tropical Fruit Farm, and this is Florida Natural Farming. We're having a super mango bloom. Seems like every single tree is blooming. Every single panicle, every single tree. Maybe one or two that are just starting out. Some are a little bit slower, but they all seem to do it in unison here. And I don't see any powdery mildew. I think on one tree I did. Seems like the conditions are perfectly right for it to be prevalent, but so far so good. Makes me a little nervous because last year we had mangoes bloom in January and it was a real problem, but a lot of our mangoes didn't even bloom last year, which kind of shocked me. I don't know why that was. But today I'm going to talk about how to handle abiotic and biotic stress biologically. So using natural microbiological management for handling cold stress, pest stress, disease stress in your tropical fruit trees. And here we go. I don't see any fungal issues on these starting out. It looks very nice. This tree has our trees got really huge this year, finally. It's taken a while to get here, but I think we're finally here. This is a coconut cream tree. It's quite large. Somebody from the peanut gallery commented that, oh, all those branches are all weird shaped on his mango trees. They're growing all bizarre and everything. Yeah, but that's because all these little panicles produced fruit from the time these trees were planted as small 3 gallons every single year. And the size of the mangoes caused the trees to branches to bend. That's what that's from. So it's not anything that's bizarre. It's just a result of overabundance of fruit, because we get a lot of fruit off our mangoes, except for last year. Hopefully this year will be different. We still got a lot of fruit. I mean, we have 270 grafted mango trees. So I get in more mangoes than I could possibly ever eat in a season, and that's what I what I worry about the most. Me getting enough mangoes. So the lychees, looks like a couple of trees are trying to bloom. They look okay. Seems like there's so much fruit here right now. It's look at this Venus tree. It's covered in bloom. Don't have to worry about spraying. So everyone seems like they're always freaked out. They're like inflamed constantly about worrying about what do I do about this? What do I do about that? What do I do about this? Remove yourself from the system is what I think you need to do. And that's what we do here. And it's worked for us. And probably that's the best advice anyone can have on mangoes is just leave it the hell alone. It will be just fine. We've never watered our mangoes. I had somebody come at me about it's kind of funny. This is a sweet tart tree and this is a fruit punch tree, trying to tell me that we have horrible soil at our farm in Citra, and that I need to water the soil because the soil is ruined and because of what I'm doing, and I need to mulch everything. For some reason they couldn't see that there's a huge giant forest there where I'm planting, and I've just started, and I have to just laugh at people that come at me and tell me that I'm doing stuff wrong. Just because it's just comical, and it's much like I don't know. It's just really bizarre. It's I just find it laughable now. It used to bother me, but now I find it laughable. Yeah, the soil is horrible, and that's how that forest grew there. Yeah, never mind. Hide comments. That's all that happens there. But anyway, here's a honey kiss mango. Looks so good here. This is that quimoc tree, a grafted quimoc tree that always produces fruit for the last several years. It's finally gotten some size to it. This place is just amazing. I went through yesterday. This is a peach cobbler mango that's just starting. But every single panicle is going to have, every single branch is going to have fruit on it. This is a pineapple pleasure, same thing. This is a fruit punch tree. It's covered in flowers. They're all covered in flowers. This is a Venus tree that's covered. They're pretty big. This is a smaller sugarloaf tree that's covered in flowers. It's a sweetheart tree that's covered in flowers. Sapodilla is covered in fruit. This is the branch that the possums broke, but I left on there. It still has fruit on it. I thought, oh well, leave it alone. Leave it alone. So a lot of people get upset that I say you don't need mulch here. I understand if you're in an arid area or if you live in a tract home where the soil is severely degraded and nothing seems to grow, the need to kickstart it with mulch, but they say you need it for moisture, but my understanding of soil is such that I know that the best way to put carbon in the soil is with a living root, and that's pretty much the best way to keep carbon in the soil, which is the single hardest thing to do in Florida on sand. And the best way to do it was with a root. And I also know that carbon from plants contain 8 times their weight in water. So that puts water in there. But even without even looking at studies, I know that the living mulch is superior to chop and drop for holding water in the soil. But there are plenty of studies out there. Maybe I'll do a link on it, maybe I won't, that show that a diverse cover crop on the soil retains more moisture than mulch. And that when you put too much mulch on, it causes lateral movement of water off and away from the soil to another area. So, yeah, mulch is good, but don't act like I don't have any mulch here. This is far superior than mulch. This not only does keeps moisture in the soil, but it builds biological microbial life in the soil. The microbial life in the soil creates a matrix of mycelial and root microbial highways that are below ground that are built bigger and bigger with the population, from the roots of the plants. That's what does it. They live in the roots of the plants. And in order to create a system that is able to combat abiotic stress, so freeze events, or prevent fungal issues in your mangoes, you need to have the microbial life. The microbial life can get the nutrients to the plant when it signals to its environment that enables it to create an immune response defense to pests or fungal issues, or enable it to generate energy, so speed up its metabolism. You need the microbes. The microbes are the nutrients. The microbes are the ticket. The microbes are the nitrogen. The microbes all live in the living roots and on the plants. And biodiverse orchard floor can supply enough nitrogen to your plant as any fertilizer. So, and it doesn't get wasted. It all gets recycled. So here's a Venus mango that's covered in fruit. Here's an M4 mango, not fruit, covered in flower. Here's an M4, I wish it was fruit. I'm kind of glad it's not. I guess it's a little too early. The mangoes used to bloom in like March, April when I first started, and then they went to February, and then last year they started in December. So it's just, I don't know, it's just very, very early, extremely early. Go look at this MB tree. So I spent years and years and years building the soil microbial populations, which is building soil. When you have the microbial populations, you build soil. Most of the soil building starts from microbial necromass, so microbial bodies, or fungal. Start as a fungal, from mycelium or something. So arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi grow in combination, they're symbionts to plants. So they colonize the rhizosphere of the plant, and they deliver nutrients, water, and different enzymes to the plant that it needs to function properly, have its metabolism work correctly. So when you have something like this, you get a superhighway, a matrix of mycelium through the network that connects everything together. And so plants of different species and different, whether they're annuals or perennials, can share nutrients a lot of times and communicate with each other. Plants that are grown in monocrops don't really have that ability. They compete for nutrients. I think this is a M4 mango also. There's another one. They're all blooming. There's a big Luke's Garcinia that's, I'm sure, going to fruit this year. Positive. You can, arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi do well under mulch, but they don't compare arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi with a multi-species diverse system like this. And guaranteed, there's more mycorrhizal fungi in a multi-species diverse plant system than there are in a dead plant material mulch system with a monocrop on top. Guaranteed. They're just, I haven't seen any studies. They don't study a lot of stuff, but common sense tells me, since they form relationships with plants, and diversity in plant life is diversity in microbial life, is diversity in fungal life, that a biodiverse orchard floor would have more diversity of fungal species. And I know there's plenty of fungi growing here. Arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi, the fruiting bodies, are the mushrooms that grow out of the ground. Yeah, but just because I don't mulch doesn't mean that this system doesn't hold water. If you have all these plants in here, your system is holding water. It traps the nutrients, traps the water, recycles them, uses them, and distributes them evenly or as needed to the other plants. No water needed here, ever. I wish this pomelo would bloom. I'm sure it's going to. It's just not ready yet, but it should. So, people have all these issues. The tropical fruit people are a lot like, not all of us, of course, but a lot of them are a lot like older people that their whole life is complaining, going to the doctor and complaining about all this sickness they have, but yet they've failed to address the core problem, their diet and their lifestyle. I have to stop talking to certain friends that I've had for years because they're just incapable of thinking for themselves. And they're so inflamed with disease that they can't divert any resources to creative thinking. And as much as I would like to retain them as friends, they just can't evolve. And so I've had to cut off friends that all they do is complain about their high blood pressure or their diabetes or their insomnia or all the above, or their weight. But yet they have ham sandwiches every day or fried chicken and all this stuff that is known contributors to heart disease. And they just look for a pill from their doctor. They expect their doctor is going to fix them. The doctor is not going to fix you. The doctor just wants to get your money and move you out the door. It's just sad. And so rather than watch them die and spiral, if they won't evolve or can't evolve or at least attempt to evolve, I've had to do it with friends. Or, just stop talking to them. Just to protect my own sanity so I don't worry about them so much. But it's a lot like the tropical fruit people. A lot of them. Their mangoes have all these issues. I have a powdery mildew. I have powdery mildew. I've got to spray sulfur all the time. It used to be I have to spray copper all the time. They finally stopped talking about that. Now it's just sulfur. I spray sulfur. It's sulfur in your plastic container, and your oxygenated sulfur creates sulfur dioxide, which is a mitochondrial inhibitor. Mitochondrial inhibitors are stuff like microplastics, which you'd get from your sprayer, heavy metals, fungicides like sulfur, copper. Copper's a heavy metal. Mined minerals contain heavy metals. All the polymers that are in the plastic, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, those are all mitochondrial inhibitors. So mitochondria inhibitors create mutagenic changes to the mitochondria. And the mitochondria are responsible for your plant's metabolism. So if your mitochondria is being inhibited by the management that you're employing, like spraying fungicides all the time, or using chemical fertilizers because it limits the microbial life and also causes mitochondrial dysfunction, then your tree's signaling ability to its environment to trigger glycolysis, to speed up its metabolism, starts in the mitochondria. And in order to, during times of freeze stress, the plants will speed up its metabolism. And the way it speeds up its metabolism is through glycolysis. And that's metabolic health. And if your mitochondria, glycolysis happens in the mitochondria. So it happens in the mitochondria matrix. So it's one of the three processes in the mitochondria: Krebs cycle, glycolysis, and let's see the other one, I can't think of it, but happen in the mitochondria to produce energy. So glycolysis is needed for the mitochondria to release energy produced in the mitochondria through the Krebs cycle. But if any of those mitochondria inhibitors are present and your mango has mutated mitochondria due to the way it was raised, sterilized seed, raised in pots, plastic pots, contains microplastics full of all kinds of mitochondria inhibitors, from phthalates to PFAS to fungicides to fire retardants to heavy metals, then your tree's ability to speed up its metabolism is compromised, and it has a dysfunctional metabolism and is unable to synthesize nutrients, and the Krebs cycle won't work correctly probably because the enzyme needed to have the Krebs cycle work. There's 7 enzymes involved, and they are catalysts with proteins in the mitochondria. And enzymes are products of, or poop of bacteria, basically. They're the bacterial poop. And if you've killed off the bacteria or damaged it in any way, then chances of the Krebs cycle working correctly in your mitochondria are severely compromised. Much like with our cells. We've damaged our cells so much on a cellular level that we are not able to function correctly on a microbial level, because we've damaged our gut microbiota so severely that we cannot process nutrients correctly, and our neuronal signaling is all screwed up due to the mitochondria inhibitors that have taken over our world, all these chemicals and stuff. Anyway, clean water, clean air, clean nutrients, whole foods seems to be the ticket. You want stuff that encourages microbial life, and this is that cacao that produces fruit. The cacao is all looking really good. Yeah, we're not really getting a big cacao crop this year. In fact, I don't even see this tree blooming. I knew this would be a problem because last year it got so affected by the drought, because it produced 30 pods of cacao last year and during the drought, and then they did not fall off, but 30 pods on this little tree during drought, it was too much stress, so it had a little dieback right here. That's what that branch is. I don't remove dead branches from my trees. I leave them because I let them internally break down and deliver the nutrients back to the rhizosphere of the plant to be used again. And people worry about people worry about, what are those? There's something in the dead wood, I forget what it is. But they like, make sure you cut all the dead wood and burn it, because your tree, it will like, I forget what it is. I don't know, because I don't have that issue. I mean, this is from over a year ago. It's still here. I firmly believe this was supposed to be taken off. The tree would have discarded it a long time ago. But so I try to leave everything as close to natural as possible and remove myself as much as I can. This is, we're 100% closed loop agro-ecosystem here, and everything seems to thrive, whether it's a drought or not. They've shown that, you know, you gotta keep your soil moist, otherwise you're gonna ruin the soil. You got to have a wetting and drying of the soil in order to build soil. So that just, I don't even need to look at a study to know that is just patently wrong. And also, I mean, so you got to be able to put stuff together. Also, they have shown that there's more arbuscular mychorizal diversity in systems that have drought occur in them than there are in systems that are consistently wet. You want mycorrhizal diversity. So I think I'll do a link to that. I think I saved that, so I'll do a link to that study. I have a few studies. I read some interesting people I think they just don't read. I want to know what's going on. I don't want to read on Facebook, you do this, do that, do that. And it seems like it's all busy work. Look at all these cacao in here. Cacao. Oh, Garcinia latissimas, they're looking good. Right there. I see cacao over here. I think we have about 100 cacao here. So I'm really loving this farm. Since I've been away, you know, I'm away, I don't see it that often. There's cacao, they're everywhere. I have cacao everywhere. 5 different types. There's the jaguar cacao, the white cacao, seed grown. Here's the round leaf cacao, right here. Yes, from my friend Dan at A Tree for Me. Looks great. The petali looks good. Little cacao. I saw one of my seashore mangosteens right here. It's looking swell. Boy, is that big already. Stuff's looking really nice in here. I just love it. I love this place. There's a cacao right there. There's a cacao. I have them all over the place. So yeah, we have round leaf cacao, jaguar cacao, yellow cacao, Trinitoro cacao, and Criolla cacao. Here's that Nochlea latifolia. It's sprawled over here. I need it to I have one in full sun that's looking so much better, but this one just very leggy in the full shade. I see there's bigger cacao in here. Trinitoro cacao. I should go check that other Trinitoro cacao just to go see what it looks like, because it had been fruiting. Oh, what I did notice, let me go in here, is the rose apple is blooming. Seed-grown rose apple blooming. So I was counting up my racks of bananas, and I counted 50 racks of bananas. You can't even tell that I took 150 pups off here. My friend Carson goes, oh, the bananas look horrible at our new place. Yeah, it's middle of winter in zone 9A. And I just transplanted them. They're gonna look horrible until they don't. So I didn't expect any type of growth during the winter for those bananas. So when somebody says, oh, you need to mulch them, they look horrible. You're not gonna get any growth in winter in there, honey. It's been 31, 32 degrees for several days. So maybe not several days, but enough days off and on to definitely prevent any type of growth from your bananas. There's a Garcinia latissima. Look at that freaking Garcinia dulcis. Looks fabulous. Cacao looks so nice. There's Achachiro. There's all kinds, so much stuff through here. This Garcinia mangostana is just blows my mind. It's over 20 inches tall now. The durians look super good. Everything's looking really good. To say that I need to water in a system like this is just, yeah, you're going to get some drought, but you really need to have some stressors in your to your system in order for your system to become more strong, because what doesn't kill it will make it stronger, and this works. So this I just noticed that this these big rose apple, seed-grown rose apple trees that were a gift from my friend Frank and his wife Annette have just started blooming. It looks like they're just getting ready to open. I'm sure they will. I'll take a picture of them. But I see that there's flowers all over them. Just this tree I don't see blooming yet, but I'm sure it will. If this one's starting, that one's going to also. There's that Garcinia Livingstonii that is a female tree. Somebody said that their male Garcinia Humbromiana friend of theirs had a male Humbromiana produce fruit. I believe that's probably possible, but you're never going to get huge crops off a male Garcinia Humbromiana or a male Garcinia Livingstonii. They do produce random fruit here and there sometimes. Not always, sometimes. Not like a female tree. You don't need a male tree to produce fruit on a Humbromiana tree or a Garcinia Livingstonii tree. Neep. In fact, you don't want it, because the female tree that's unpollinated, I'm almost positive, only will produce female plants. And they do produce viable seed because I planted them. That's what I showed you over here. Here's a big Achachiro tree. We started this to be a Garcinia humilis farm, a Achachiro farm. There's probably 500 plus Achachiro trees. I've been mowing the fields, and I went in the back. All the mangoes back there are blooming. There's little Garcinia Livingstonii trees and little Achachiro trees that I could see while I'm driving by. Now that, you know, it's winter and the cover crop thins out in the winter when it cools off. This is an African bean nut, or bean. What is it? African. I can't think of the name of it offhand. It's a legume. Here's a Achachiro tree. They look good. Everything looks really nice. Very nice. It's a big female, or not female. This is a sweet Garcinia Livingstonii hybrid. Only produces fruit once a year, which is very disappointing. It would be one of my favorite trees if it did. This is a peanut butter fruit. Some people think that all these plants compete with your tree. They do not. I've read stuff where it's like somebody had their bananas and it's like, you need to remove all those grass from around your banana. But it's just simply not true. There's a lot of this stuff gets passed around, and it just gets cemented into the fabric of our consciousness, and it's just blatantly wrong. And I know that if I removed all the little weeds and plants from around my dry farm fruit trees when I plant them this big, that they would die during drought. But if I leave those there, they survive. So I do not remove anything that grows adjacent to my trees, unless it's like a vine that's completely covering it. But something like this growing up into it, this achacha tree, definitely would not do that. I would just leave it alone. I do leave it alone. And it's served me well, and the stuff obviously thrives. So this is a giant sweet ubaje. It's looking so good. Yeah, I love it here. This place is still for sale. Seems like it's going to be a super mango event this year, hopefully. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. But that Achachachuro tree is getting big. There's a lot of little stuff in here, the little citrus. Citrus greening is definitely the result of management. Damaged mitochondria, poor industrial farm management of their biological being, which is their citrus trees. I've seen enough huge giant citrus groves, not groves, but yards full of giant citrus, old citrus, covered in fruit and no disease up by our place in Citra to know that I know that it's definitely a management. And plus, they've damaged the mitochondria with the industrial pollutants they use. So there's no way that the tree can ever kickstart its metabolism unless you're giving it synthetic nitrogen and phosphorus, plant-available phosphorus, and protecting it from fungus and protecting it from pests. And then they only live 15 years on average, and citrus is supposed to be long living. So it's like, would you really want to eat that fruit off a tree that only lives 15 years compared to a fruit that lives 75 years that hasn't been given any of that crap? The reason why California doesn't have the greening issue is because they don't have the bugs issues we have here, so they don't, and it's dry, so they don't use the amount of chemical insecticides, fungicides, herbicides that they do here. The stuff just doesn't grow if you don't water it. This is Garcinia brasiliensis. It's quite large. It's quite nice. It looks really good. I mowed. This is so freaking good. I ate the skin and all. This is Garcinia gardneriana. I'm going to plant these up at, this tree is covered in fruit, up in Citra. Direct sow the seeds. It's supposed to get very cold up there, 27 degrees, but the soil always remains warm, and it's got that huge cover crop. Overstory is mulch for the soil, keeps the soil covered. So just because you don't see mulch on the ground, because they've raked it all up, picked it all up, and burnt it, doesn't mean that there still isn't cover on the soil from that huge giant live oak forest canopy. That's cover, and it holds moisture, and it puts moisture in there. To think that they think I should water that oak forest, I mean, that's just like next. Goodbye. This is gardneriana. So good. Hello, Garcinias. They're so sweet now. Sweet and big and everywhere. And they're super good. Super good. Here's our female Garcinia gardneriana. She's huge. She gave, I think I got like 30 plants from her this year. I planted. I'm going to plant my whole cow pastures in seeds this year, because I have a feeling we're still going to have this. This place is paid for, so it's not like we have to sell it. It's like, if we needed the money, we'd rent it out, or I'd do a vacation B&B. But sure, money would be nice, but if somebody's sitting on the sidelines waiting for the day when we're gonna like get desperate, don't hold your breath. And if you think this is so easy to replicate, that you could just buy land and do it yourself, think again. If it was that easy, these places would be everywhere. It takes years and years and years of somebody that's obsessive compulsive, planting and buying and planting and buying and planting. So our new place, Ups and Downs Farm, Zebu Ranch, I'm only going to trade plants. I'm not going to sell anything from there except our miniature zebus. We are going to raise and sell miniature zebus. But as far as plants go and fruit and stuff, everything look at this, all these fruit on this jackfruit. I mean, this thing is covered in freaking fruit, covered in fruit. Male flowers, a lot of them, but a lot of them aren't. Smells are so good. Yeah, so there's just too much here at stake. And I really have an attachment to this property, and it's not going down in price. And who knows if food prices go through the roof, and who knows what will happen. So look at this tree. This tree is just like, it blows me away. It really is like such an amazing tree. The Garcinia madruno. And it's hard to believe that these are like $20 of fruit at Miami Fruits. And this tree is covered in fruit and little fruit and probably flower if I look, but definitely it's got fruit all over it and it never stops. You need to water that tree. Cashews are everywhere now. Sapodilla. Yeah, I've talked about making your tree more resilient to abiotic and biotic stress so much that it's like, here's this Florigon tree does have some powdery mildew going on, but I showed it last year and it was covered in powdery mildew, and this tree produced tons of fruit. This is a Kezar tree, and it's got some powdery mildew also. This was the same issue. This is just starting to bloom also. This tree was covered in powdery mildew. The flowers were covered in powdery mildew. And I had lots of fruit on this tree last year. So if you're having trees that don't produce fruit because of powdery mildew, it's guaranteed because of the way you're growing. And your stress levels that you have are inducing a response from you that is causing your tree to become weaker metabolically. So here's a super Julie tree. This is it is just starting to bloom. You know what is starting to bloom is my seed-grown sugarloaf mango tree. So it bloomed for the first time it's starting to bloom. I'm pretty sure it's bloom. This is that mango. That's why I see all these mangoes that never get touched by anyone. They have all kinds of fruit and they don't have any issues. It's definitely, we're probably the biggest hindrance to our tree's survival. This is a Gary mango. Gary mango's top tier, definitely. I love Gary mangoes. It's a dot mango. I like dot mangoes too. Bloom, 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 bloom. Not sure who that is. This is a, there's some mangoes in here. They're all starting to bloom too. This is a super Julie tree. Seemed like just those two trees had a little fungal issues. I didn't see any fungal issues on the trees in the back, but like I said before, the fungal issue, it's not a problem with our trees. This tree is covered in bloom here. $270 grafted trees. These are kind of some of our smaller trees too. Most of our trees are quite large. This is an orange sherbet tree. That's what this is. It's a smaller tree anyway. These mangoes are looking okay. They're blooming. I see blooms on them, panicles starting. That's a good size Achochiro tree. Here's our big Ruby Supreme guava tree. Lots of bananas on this. I joined the Florida Banana Fruit Lovers Banana and Banana Lovers group on Facebook. So yeah, I'm on Facebook under Eric Dale. Friend me if you want. I don't have any friends. I have some friends, I guess 15 of them now. So I'm a little behind on my Facebook. I was nervous about Facebook because of my experience on TFF, the harassment I received there. But they don't do that on Facebook. There's rules against that. They can't like terrorize you basically. And if anybody, I know, if you have ever been terrorized on social media, you know it's not a fun thing. I just didn't know how to cope with it, and I used to let stuff like that bother me. Fortunately, I'm able to just laugh it off now, but I don't know. I don't like to be a part of anything that like tears people down like that. Especially since I was right. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to learn how to grow? All you are like inflamed and looking for answers on TFF. You all have issues. Ask the same question year after year after year, and never the right question. Never the right answer. Never a soil health response to any of the questions. So I'm glad I'm not on there, but Facebook isn't like that, and I've had only a good experience so far. But this is was the picture of this is a one from one banana. This is one clump. It's one rhizome, all connected. It's been there 9 years. It's never been mulched. It's never been fertilized because I couldn't get to it. Because it's like through this mess, and I can't haul a wheelbarrow full of cow manure over there. We stopped applying any inputs. We don't have to. More than 16 plant growing in a cover crop provides as much nitrogen as fertilizer, as much available nitrogen, and the carbon, the mycorrhizal fungi enables photosynthesis that allows the plant to uptake more carbon through the air. So you really, there's plenty of carbon from all these plant material, and guaranteed during times of drought, those bananas are all wet around them. It's not because it's a low spot. I only plant bananas in high spots. But there's plenty of racks on there. We get plenty of bananas off that. So, yeah, the bananas, you really can't tell that I removed it. I'm not going to take any more bananas here. I am going to, during mango season, I'm going to try to divide some and start planting them in my cow pasture back there. There's a big seed-grown black sapote tree. Here's a little sugarloaf mango tree. The cashews are all looking swell. This, that's a cashew right there. There's a curry plant right there. But yeah, I would say there's easily 100 cashew trees all thriving here. So 2 to 3 years, major cashew farm here. Already a major seed source. A little mango tree is blooming. Yeah, I get enough seeds where I could like populate this whole place with more cashews, 100 more easily this year. This is a tree is getting big. This is a cherry mountain guava. Cherry forest guava. Cherry mountain guava? Cherry mountain guava. Mountain cherry guava. I don't know, I'm retarded, sorry. Here's a Nico lemon. This has been fruiting for a long time. We don't have greening issues, none. So all of our trees are seed grown, but we have a connected system, and we focus on the health of our soil and building up microbial populations, and we definitely stay away from all mitochondrial inhibitors. So people water, but then they use hoses, and all the, for some reason people cannot connect dots. It's kind of bizarre to me. Microplastics come from hoses? How do you know? Is there proof? Yeah, do I need proof? I do know that plastic bottles have hundreds of thousands of whatever microplastics in them. They've finally discovered. And the little tiny ones that they couldn't detect before are the ones that are the worst for you. So definitely if you're watering your plants and you're using microjets that are, plastic, you're shooting plastic into your system that your tree's going to uptake and you're going to consume, and it's going to damage the mitochondria of your tree. So all that stuff, little tiny things, you have to optimize everything. Everything needs to be looked at and scrutinized. Small molecules can have profound effects, negative effects on the health of your tree and on you. So it may not get everyone, but it'll get somebody. And in combination, the right plastic molecule, right plastic microplastic, the right microplastic that you consume in your fruit tree because you've been growing it in black plastic pots, your mangoes, guaranteed, because microplastics absorb PFAS and heavy metals. That combination of microplastic that contains phthalates and fire retardants and PFAS and heavy metals that is absorbing heavy metals and absorbing PFAS also absorbs diseases. So diseases get on the surface of the microplastic and then you consume them. So in combination, it can probably have a quicker effect. And depending on the load of plastic you have in your system, we all have it. You can't get away from it. They've ruined the earth with the plastic. Probably going to take us out, but depending on the load of plastic, probably that one more piece of fruit that contains the toxic microplastic in it could be the one, and in combination with the sprays that have been put on the mangoes could send your system over the edge. So I like to look at everything, and I don't think there's anything too small to be ignored. So everything should be looked at. But yeah, I don't need to be look at a study. Do hoses cause microplastics to be emitted? Of course they do. Rubber hoses, definitely. Even mowing does it because of the rubber tires. I don't know. We just have gotten so polluted here that it's just, nobody looks at plastic. This is a orange sherbet tree. Nobody looks at plastic in growing food. But yet, somebody called and they wanted to know about, they wanted to buy the farm, but people are delirious. I know if they call me and they want to buy the farm and they don't know the price, that they're really not that interested, because they found my number. They sure would have been able to find the address, and they sure would have saw that it was listed with the real estate agent. And to think that I'm going to give this place away because I can't afford it is misguided. But anyway, so they're like, well, we're going to put it, we're harvesting rainwater and we're doing all this stuff. We're going to put up a hydroponic system. And I'm like, yeah, I want to grow all these tropical fruit trees in Virginia in pots, plastic pots. Plastic pots, plastic mulch on the ground, hydroponic systems. So lettuce, they showed, had huge, this is a orange sherbet mango. This is a fruit punch mango. This is a peach cobbler mango. This is a guanabana tree. It must have got cold here because it's kind of looking haggard. And, but anyway, hydroponic systems because everyone uses plastic and everyone uses plastic to catch your rainwater, but you can get galvanized steel rain tanks or water tanks. Probably have an issue with them in Florida rusting, but in California they use them. In San Diego, I know we had them, 5,000 gallon one. And but they're like, oh, really? You get microplastics from hydroponics? And it's like, how come people can't put stuff together in their head? It's just like, I just don't understand what's going on with people. They just ignore everything and just don't look at it all. I'm a little more paranoid than anybody I know. But I just read too much stuff, and I read these studies on microplastics and the fine microplastics, and lettuce had a high concentration of plastic in it because a lot of it's grown hydroponically. And if it's grown hydroponically and it's sucking it up through the water, it's probably the really tiny particles. So, I don't know. These vegan people act like they're like holier than thou and that the meat eaters are completely like crazy, but yet they don't even look at their microplastic problems with their vegan food. Probably is worse than any meat diet. I don't know. You might feel good for a while, but I don't trust it. I have to eat it because there's no other options. But really, people just need to look in the mirror. Stop casting doubt on how other people are eating. Of course, I do the same thing. But those are friends of mine that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about everyone, but I guess I should say ex-friends, because not all of them are ex-friends. Some of them do listen and make attempts, but it's hard. I understand, but when you get old, you really have to pay attention to your diet, or you just start getting sick, chronically ill. And once you get chronically ill like that, I don't think you're capable of really thinking, because your resources go to combating all your inflammation. And so you don't have any brain cells left to think clearly. Look at this peanut butter fruit. This is seedling mango. I should go look at that. Stuff's looking good. There's a cashew. It's looking good. Stuff's looking swell. Sugarloaf mango, but I'm not. I'm gonna go over here and look at there's another peanut butter fruit. Looks good. I think Nigel gave me one. My friend Nigel and my friend Frank gave me 2 of those peanut butter fruits. I have 3. The Garcinias look great. I'm pretty sure that that's a Lindero, but maybe not. It's got very small leaves on it, this one. There's the cashew, of course. There's a Luke's Garcinia. Got a lot of cacao I planted in here. Look at this torch ginger. I know this won't grow up in Citra. I love torch ginger. I want to keep this place. I just, it's like I oscillate back and forth. But here's a Garcinia. It looks great. This tree almost tried to take it out, but this branch that fell off this tree But I see lots of Garcinias in here. I'm gonna try to go through here a little bit. And some cacao. And I see a cacao here. I see a achachiro there. I see another achachiro over there. I see another cacao here. But there's a lot of little stuff in here growing. Maybe I should go look at that Trinitoro cacao to see if it's blooming. Here's the achachiro. There's a bunch of achachiro through here and a little citrus. Look at how nice these citrus look. Beautiful. There's a citron. There's another citrus. Camito, Oscar's giant purple. I don't even like to say his name. I'm so pissed at him for ripping me off for my seed money. Not returning my emails, just totally disregarding me. I saw people had issues with Bellamy. I haven't had that issue, but I do believe it happens. I'm never going to doubt anybody again when I hear that. So, Sapodillas are looking good. The Sapodilla tree is getting quite large. This is very good. So this is a big achachiro tree. Here's the Juicy Pearl Star Apple. Is that one from Australia? I saw that. DPI Gold looks great. Star Apple. These gingers, they're evergreen like awapui, but they're not. Here's a big, getting big, Garcinia macrophylla. Supposed to be the best Garcinia there is, taste-wise, flavor-wise. But we'll see. I saw lots of passion fruit. There's some black sapote. For some reason, it's a bad year, black sapote. But, you know, every year is a good year for black sapote. And one bad year is not going to be a problem. It deserves to have a day off. Here's a buttercream mango. Buttercream is one of my favorite mangoes. They're huge. They're delicious. Their texture is sublime. I don't know. They do it for me. They just really do it for me. The dry farmed, naturally grown, holistically managed tropical mangoes are to die for. Nothing better. I've never tasted a better mango than the mangoes from this farm, ever. That's why I was able to sell them for $10 each, or $10 a pound. I sold some for $22 each. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to try to make my prices reasonable, but not too reasonable. I think I sold them for $5 a pound last year, a little bit. Some of them I did, very few, but some of them mostly I give away. But this year we are going to sell. We have to sell fruit because we are a tropical fruit farm, and it's the only way my partner would ever agree to keeping this. But I just am not going to. This is that Trinitoro cacao. I'm looking to see if it has blooms on it. We got the house all painted on now. Looks really nice. These Licula palms grow seams in Citra. They are unaffected by the cold weather. Yeah, it looks good. Nice and clean. This is that Psychotria viridis. You know, that's the thing that unlocks the DMT in the ayahuasca vine, the Banisteriopsis capi. They're a super rare plant. That's the real one. But this is that Trinitoro. You know, it bloomed all summer long, but it didn't set any fruit. But it's maybe next year. But it's quite large. You know, looks very good. Yeah, you know, we can grow this cacao here because of the way we manage our soils. So a lot of people think that Cacao can't take below 55 degrees. Yeah, it probably can't if you've damaged the tree's mitochondria. But here where we focus on systems health and the health of our plants, and definitely the health of the mitochondria of our plants, by preventing mitochondria inhibitors to getting in the system, so we don't water with anything. So no way we can get polluted by that. Only thing get polluted by is through air and water, which is happening. There's PFAS in the air and there's microplastics in the air, but we're not adding to that with watering with sprinklers and stuff like that. Plus our wells are use plastic to distribute water, PVC, so that's all toxic. I forgot to show the mulberries. We have mulberries. There's just so much here. It's just overwhelming. These bananas are looking good. Here's my Rollinia fruits. It's got fruit on here. I thought it would drop it because of the drought, but I see fruit still. Where are you, little fruit? There you are. Oh, looks good. It's amazing. And it's this one that I had to chop back because the Hurricane Milton knocked and kind of tilted it, but I chopped it back. It's got flowers on it still. It's doing good. More bananas. Lots of bananas. Like I said, I counted 50 racks. There's 500 clumps of bananas, 500 different clumps of bananas here that I divided. So a lot of them I thinned out, but the ones along the road I forgot to get. I probably should have taken that one out, but maybe I'll start doing some and put them in the back. Here's some our Nam Dak Mai. They're looking good. It's like a mango hedge along here. I love it. It's how the whole driveway is going to be along this side. It's a good wind block for hurricanes because it comes from that direction. The wind a lot of times, but they're all starting to bloom. This one has a little bit of fungal issues, but I don't worry about powdery mildew because it does not affect the fruit set here. I believe it does probably affect the fruit set on your mangoes that you've damaged them severely. These were all nursery grown, which is like really bad. But I've been trying to plant seeds of all these mangoes. So if anything comes along and wipes out all the root stock mangoes, then at least we'll have healthy Frog Valley Farm mangoes that should be able to counteract any pathogen or stressor that can knock them all out in unison. Yeah, it looks good. Everything looks good. Imagine that jackfruit has fruit on it. This seed-grown tree produced fruit last year. It was good. Small red variety, crunchy. Anyway, I'm Eric. That was my Frog Valley Farm latest video. December 30th, 2024. Everything looks swell here. I love it. It's fruit every day of the year round, nonstop. I think this is the year it's going to be Fruitmageddon for me. Might send me over the edge trying to sell all this fruit. But I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch, and hopefully they will hatch probably about April or May. But who knows? That's how you prevent abiotic stress in mangoes and abiotic stress in other tropical fruit trees, and biotic stress. Biotic stress from insects. I guess human-caused stress is biotic. We're the biggest stressors to the plants, I believe. But that's it. Have an excellent day. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment. I always enjoy hearing from you, even if it's irritating sometimes. Have an excellent day.